Witches, guess what? It is time for the Witches Movie Coven. Yes, grab your goat, grab a planchette, and probably a Ouija or spirit board because we are talking about the newest release of the movie Witchboard. Yes, indeed. Did you see it? I hope you did because we're going to talk about it. I am Patti Negri. I am one of your hosts, and I am honored to be here. You might know me from my Witching Hour podcast, from Ghost Adventures, from being right here because we've been doing this a long time now at the Witches Movie Coven. I have a fabulous new book out called Dollcraft, all about haunted dolls. Peeking over my shoulder is Belle, my number one family member haunted doll. And I can't remember, I believe I remember to say it today. But let me introduce you and pass you over to my co-host, especially let's start out with the ones we have missed for weeks and weeks now, the beautiful, amazing, still alive Courtney Buckley. Welcome.
Thanks. That's me, Courtney Buckley, ghost bait on Scared and Alone, recovered from my mysterious situation that I had going on. I had a procedure that went wrong. I got a staph infection. It's been a nightmare, but I survived like a cockroach. I'm still here. Nothing can take me down, and I will not miss any more Wednesday nights.
Thank you. Yes, we are so glad to have you back. Richard-Lael.
I am Richard-Lael, and I too have a problem with staff. Good help is so hard to find. So yes, I am Richard-Lael. It's one word, not two. If I were just Richard, I would be a. I am known as the Gentleman's Psychic. Yes, that is correct. You may know me on Ghost Adventures. You may see me at University of Magicus. You may see me here in New Orleans. I'm a little bit of everywhere. But also, while we're here, while I have your attention, you should hit that like, subscribe, do the comment thing, because we really rely upon viewers like you. Also, take a look over at mysterycontrol.com where you can wear our images, you can wear our quotes. We would appreciate it and love you more than we do. I don't think that's possible, but we do love you. Anyway, back to you.
Thank you very much. The one and only Heather Greene.
Hi, everyone. I'm Heather Greene. I'm the author of Lights, Camera, Witchcraft, and I'm going to pull it out in front of my thing here. There it is. And it is the definitive guide to all things witchy in movies and television. And I am a journalist, and I have if you're interested, a recent article out. I guess just went today about Patricia Crowther, or one of our four mothers of Wicca. And I do all kinds of articles on witchcraft and the occult in mainstream media, as well as I am an editor at Llewellyn Worldwide, working with wonderful authors like Patti, of course, and Jason, who's not here, of course. He's not my author, but I work with authors like him. And I would like to say, while I have your attention, that I started today a Witchcraft Film Festival on social media. So every day I'm going to be listing one of the top witchy movies, most popular witchy movies, 31 throughout October. And each day I will be linking to one of our podcasts. So if you see a movie, if you see one of my links, you'll also get a link to one of our podcasts where we're talking about that movie, just for added information. So please check that out. And again, like and subscribe and follow us.
Oh, perfect. Thank you so much. You guys follow that social media. And Jason, we're not sure where he is, if he's coming or not. We don't remember if he told us he was coming or not. We are excited to say, you might remember even from last week, the one and only Scarlet Amaris. I was going to say your last name wrong, so I said your first name wrong. Scarlet Amaris. Welcome back, Scarlet.
Thank you so much for having me back. I'm Scarlet Amaris. I am a screenwriter and a television writer and a novelist. Almost all of my movies have to do with witchcraft. I also teach various classes on mythology, and currently I'm teaching a creative writing class called Witching the Art of Words. And I'm thrilled to be back here. So thank you so much for having me once again.
Yes, thank you so much for coming. You were so fabulous last week. We just kept you. Okay, so this week's movie, Witchboard, we're not sure if it came out in 2024 or 2025, a little bit of both. But hopefully you guys all watched it. But just in case you didn't watch it, we're going to pass this over to the wonderful Richard-Lael for his unbiased, complete, beginning to end synopsis he gives us so well.
Unbiased synopsis.
I'm so looking forward to this.
I'm buckled up. I am locked in.
Me too, Courtney.
Okay. Let me just start off by telling a little history about me and my ancestry. My ancestors arrived in the New World in 1683. They were Huguenots. They were Protestants. The name Lillard means opponent of the faith. So this film really hits home with the fact that my ancestors were definitely ancient French Wiccans.
Right there.
Stop.
You did it.
Now that I got that out of the way, the film begins in 1693, not Salem, not Salem, 1693 France. Where? It doesn't matter. She's a witch. She's a what? A witch. This witch has some sort of love affair with love-hate relationship with a bishop, because of course she does. Of course she does. And this bishop is completely red-pilled, and that's code, but he's completely red-pilled and he hates women. Of course he does, especially strong women. Of course he does. And so he has imprisoned this witch. Fast forward for some reason, who knows why, you just fast forward, not to France. Oh no, that would be too easy. No, fast forward to 2024, 5? New Orleans, which also hits home because, hi, I'm here. Anyway.
I didn't realize when I was
instead of hiring,
Richard-Lael biopic.
I was looking for you.
Instead of hiring good jazz bands, because there are a few, they hired the worst jazz bands to sort of announce that, in fact, they're in New Orleans because there's nothing else, right? Excepting for jazz bands. Anyway, fast forward to 2024 or 5. These people are out wandering in the bayou for whatever reason. Why are they wandering the bayou? I don't know. It's never explained. They're wandering the bayou. And the woman finds weird mushrooms. And then she finds a cat. And the pussy leads her to a witchboard. A what board? A witchboard. And now, meanwhile, she doesn't know what it is. She just thinks, oh, this is going to look really great in this restaurant that we're obviously at 20 years old going to be able to afford with all of our friends in the French Quarter. Of course we are, because we have all kinds of money. So they gather to have their party, to announce their gathering. And Richie invites the ex-girlfriend of the protagonist. And Richie, I'm going to say, there's one thing about Richie, is that he is rather handy to have around. Because he stands around looking stumped all the time. Richie knows about witchcraft because his mother used to read tarot cards in the French Quarter. Woo, woo, woo. And he says, I don't like that thing. You need to get it out of here. I have a bad feeling because my mother read tarot cards in the French Quarter. And meanwhile, the woman is trying to find her wedding ring that she has lost. By the way, she's also, you find out, a recovering addict. So she uses this witchboard to find her wedding band. And then Richie has an accident where he loses something very special. His life. And then, gosh.
That was a Witches Movie Coven jump scare.
Not the first one.
Meanwhile, Witch from 1693, France, not Salem, is summoned through a portal in this witchboard with her finger that she severed. And then she possesses the body of this person. And meanwhile, there's this bad guy who stole that from a museum. And then the other guy ended up dead. And he's trying to find this witchboard. And so somehow he is the ancestor of this archbishop And yet at the same time, he sounds very English, which is very strange because he's supposed to be French and he lives in New Orleans. Nonetheless, I digress. It turns out that this witch had murdered, she had caused all of these people to go crazy and murder themselves because the bishop had said that she was a witch and a WHORE. Anyway, she ends up by repossessing this woman's body so that the woman is being burned at the stake in 1693, and the witch is now in this restaurant in New Orleans, and she has plucked these mushrooms from the corpse in the bayou that they found, these strange mushrooms. It makes people have hot flashes, Heather. And then these hot flashes make you homicidal. And so they bring out the knives, and you have to be careful because spooning leads to forking, and forking leads to, well, it's just not very knife things. Okay, so they unalive each other. The protagonist ends up by escaping. It's New Orleans police, so obviously they show up on time. I'm not being sarcastic at all, but the New Orleans police show up right on time, and then he escapes. Great. Okay, so he escapes, and then he ends up in the mansion of the rich guy who is somehow English and French and New Orleanian, and gets unalived himself as he tries to rescue the girl who is now no longer the witch, but the girl. And the last thing that goes through his mind is a Colt 45. This is the villain. And as they're zipping it up, his eyes open up because clearly, God, this was stupid. That's my review. That is my review.
Wait, you forgot the Vatican.
The very last piece.
Oh, right. They go to the Vatican. They find out that the ex-girlfriend and the girlfriend who is now alive, they are giving this Witchboard to the Vatican for protection of the church, but it's not a donation. But they can't make sizable sums, so instead they're paid with plastic beads, I think.
Diamonds. I think they're supposed to be diamonds.
I think they're supposed to be diamonds, yeah.
Yeah, but they look like plastic beads. I'm pretty sure those are plastic beads. And also, how does she know that what they are? Like, they could be cubic zirconium. Like, how does she know? She doesn't even have a thing. She doesn't have a thing to look at it, you know? The end. This was. I am not drinking tonight, but I wish that I were Jason.
and this was a remake because it was so good the first time or second time or third time. But just in case, thank you for that very thorough and clear synopsis. But maybe there's a little bit more we don't know yet about the film, so we're going to turn it over to Heather Greene.
Yeah, I'll clear up a few things. The first thing I'm going to clear up is the 24-25 conversation. So the movie was filmed in 23. It was released in a film festival in 24, the Fantasia Film Festival. So that's the first time it was screened. And then it didn't get its wide release until August 2025. So it was a full year before it got its full release. So that's why you're seeing 2 years. You're getting the date from the film festival and then sometimes the date from its full release. So it was written and directed by Chuck Russell. Yes, it is a remake, not an exact remake, but it is considered a remake. He liked the original one, so he wrote his own script with some cohorts on I'll get to all of the witch. The original one a little bit later. Its budget was $15 million. Up until this point, it's grossed, including international, between $300,000 and $400,000.
It grossed. It definitely grossed.
It has moderate reviews. What was that?
Sorry, I can't get past the 15 million. That just. Okay.
Yeah, well, that's the number that I'm seeing. So, and I was getting different numbers with the total gross, but I saw some said 300 something, some said 400 something. So yes, it said it was a $15 million budget, and those were this director was the director of Mask. He did Paradise City, Scorpion King. He did Nightmare on Elm Street 3. He has some cred, so I'm assuming he was considered. They threw him out. I don't know about that portion of it. Let's look at the cast real quick, because I think there's a couple. I'm not going to give you everybody, but I'm going to think there's a couple interesting characters. Of course, just to name the main character, Emily. She was Madison Iceman. She was in Annabelle Comes Home. Well, I don't know if we've reviewed that Annabelle here yet. She was in Jumanji. So she's been in a bunch of things. You may have seen her, may not notice her. But one of the standout characters that I want to point out is Alexander Baptiste. That was played by Jamie Campbell Bower. And if you look closely, you may recognize him. He was Vecna from Stranger Things. Okay, so that's where immediately you say, okay, yeah, he plays a great bad guy. He was also in Fantastic Beasts, The Twilight Saga, Game of Thrones, Sweeney Todd. He's been a lot of things, and he's continuing to be in a lot of things. But I think for me, I recognized him as Vecna first because I love Stranger Things. So those are really the only two casts, because I want to talk about some other things, some other aspects. Some of the other characters were in a bunch of different things. You might recognize their faces, but I'd like to move on because there's some other things to talk about with this movie. And I'm just going to go over to my notes here. Hold on a second while I go back. So first, let's talk about the board itself. So the board in the original movie was an actual Ouija board. This is a round board that was supposedly created by late Egyptians or some kind of thing. And they also specified that the pendulum boards, which is what they're calling this, is spirit boards and pendulum boards. They use both those terms in this movie. And pendulum, they say the pendulum board was outlawed by the Pope at some point. That is false history. This movie is so filled with such good history. I was surprised they got that wrong. So the divination was banned. There are regulations about divination, but not specifically the pendulum board. This board is not a specific board as far as I can tell from any past history. The Ouija board itself was created in the 1800s, the late 1800s, during the spiritualism movement, along with Tarot and all that kind of stuff. It came about then. There's a wonderful history to read about the Ouija board. There were spirit boards and pendulum type boards before. They aren't exactly the same thing. But this particular round board is not anything specific from any era or anything. There were spirit talking board type games in Egypt, as far as I can tell, but they did not look like this. They were square. They came from a game called Senate, and I don't know anything more about that. There are experts in that field, but it is not this board. So that was all made up history. Let's talk about some other made-up history here. This takes us right over into the ancient practice of Wicca. So I'm going to read you a couple of notes, because after about the fourth one, I almost walked away from the movie. In the beginning, pagans, when she looks at the board, she says that could be pagan or even Wiccan. It's got to be over 100 years old.
Yeah.
It's an early Wiccan pendulum board. She uses the term ancient Wicca. And then she references that Ouija was a later addition to the ancient Wiccan pendulum board. Remember that the Ouija was created in the late 1800s. But the recent Ouija is only a game. It's not a real board. That was also prefaced. That was a Baptiste that said that. They called Wicca age-old nature worship. Actually, they got the nature worship sort of a little closer. The women with the white hair were white witches, and she was ready to study the Wiccan arts. Okay, so I want to be clear that Wicca is not an ancient religion. Wicca was started in the mid-century, 20th century. It is informed by lots of indigenous older practices It's informed by lots of occult practices that are older as well as newer stuff, and as well, but it as a religion congealed into what it is today was created mid 20th century. There was no, as far as I can tell, witch or pagan on listed as informing the creators of this film. Sometimes they're listed
obvious.
Yeah, sometimes they're listed and sometimes they're not. And you can usually tell this, obviously someone who was Wiccan, if they were informing, they would have said something, because this was very funny. What they were using the word Wicca, if they had just replaced it with witchcraft, it wouldn't have been a problem. But they used the word Wicca. So anyone who's listening, who's part of our coven tonight, just know that they're not the same thing. And this is informing the early Wiccan pendulum board, which is older than the Ouija board. That was fun. So let's get to one last thing, the original movie. That movie that was created in 1986, released in 87. I have funky dates on that one as well. I think it was filmed in 86. The film wasn't, as far as I can tell, and I did not see this because it is considered a US UK film, so I didn't review it for my book, which was only on US films. As far as I can tell, there was no specific witch in the movie. It wasn't a center point to that movie. That was about a spirit, a male spirit, David, I believe, coming through the board and possessing the person using the board. So I think it was a slightly different story, but the same kind of concept. It was directed by Kevin Tenney, who also wrote it. It did use the actual Ouija board, and it was not well received. It wasn't loved, but probably because of video releases, which a lot of times that happens, it actually got a number 2 and a number 3. So you have Witchboard, The Devil's Doorway. There you go. That looks good. 1993. Perfect for the Satanic Panic center point right there. And then Witchboard 3 is The Possession, 1995. We keep seeing Witch Trap. That's a whole different movie. That's a different thing. So there are a lot of movies, and I'll talk about this later. I'll let somebody else talk. But this movie was packed full of every single button you could push to create a witchcraft film. It was pure setup with everything you needed: fire, young girls, pendulums, boards, speaking words, cloaks, blood, cursed items, all the things. And the most interesting thing is that it was placed in New Orleans, which the director felt was the right place because he associates real witchcraft with New Orleans, which I find very funny because that's not how Hollywood typically represents this type of witchcraft. So I'll leave it at that.
Thank you.
You guys like it?
Yeah. Okay. Anybody want to jump in? Courtney.
Oh, I really do, because here's the I've listened to all of these unbiased comments, whatever. I don't know what movie you guys watched, but the one that I watched was extremely accurate to real life, considering I went to see this movie at the movie theater, and at some point during that fell into some kind of a portal, disappeared from my body, and did not remember one single scene from this movie, and had to then rewatch it because I was not present in myself apparently when I was watching it the first time. It was so unremarkable. I just didn't remember anything. So that was a joke, but yeah, I had to sit through it again for a second time tonight, and that was painful, and I am upset that this is what I came back to. So I will say, as usual, I root for the villain in this because don't make me hex you. I feel like, you know, the witch had every right to, she was scorned and brutally so I don't know. I it's like, okay, yeah, all of this happened, and then I was almost with it for like a hot second. I was almost with it until the Medusa snakes came out of somebody, and then I was like, come on. And then at one point and it wasn't even like how I like it, so bad it's good. It was just bad. Like there was one point when the cat CGI looked like a bear climbing on a wall. I don't know. It was a lot. It was very predictable. There was nothing. I was struggling to find quotes. I did get some, but I was struggling to find some. And then I tried to cheat and go on IMDb and look at quotes on there because I couldn't find any, and they don't even have a quote page for this, which I feel like says a lot. So I don't know. I'm really glad to be back. And I even made a special occasion. I'm at the Proctor House. I'm coming to you live from the Proctor House. And right. And like, you know, I tried to get in the mood. It's October 1st. It's spooky, like whatever. And I watched it here in the house. And it was just, I was like, I did the thing that I always do where I'm like, oh, we have to be at least halfway through the movie. I'm going to check. And it had been 20 minutes. And I was like, you've got to be joking. And I did that 3 more times. And then when the Witchboard logo came up, I was like, finally, it's done. It's over. I can get up. And then it was like, oh, here's a whole other super important scene to the plot because we're all going, let's go to the Vatican. Let's just walk right in. So
that's we're going to make a number 2 and number 3.
Made very clearly, obviously.
Okay. Well, thank you. I wanted to like it. I'm like, when I'm watching the trailer, I'm like, well, I love opening a restaurant, young people cooking mushrooms. That's good. I love New Orleans, one of my favorite cities anywhere. And nothing played out. Oh, nothing. Even New Orleans. I'm looking at the dancers in New Orleans. Like those are the worst dancers I've ever. I see dancers on the street. They could have driven by anywhere in the quarter and seen street dancers that do better street dancing. So I just kept getting more and more disappointed as we went. And then I kept getting so tired because, and it could have been so good. I mean, it could, and again, the same thing, Wicca, everything that you guys have mentioned, I don't need to keep mentioning it. The one thing I can say, they did not kill any cats.
I thought that the whole time.
Cats. And when I first saw the cat, I'm like, oh no, if there's going to be another, I have to hide my head in the bathroom for the entire night. But wait, the cats these are a plot point. These are, evil, magical witch cats. They're going to be okay. I mean, there was somebody threw a cat once, but the cat, of course, is magic and was fine. So its only redeeming value for me was nobody killed a cat. That's it. That's all I got.
It was dreadful. I mean, it was so dreadful. And so the opening scene is a rip on another movie called La Chiesa. It's a much, much better movie. And so I was like, oh, okay, I see where that's coming from. Like, I'll give it a chance. It's obvious that it's shot well by somebody that knows what they're doing. But the story was so awful. And I was like, is it somebody who knows what they're doing who's trying to do like an 80s remake? And so they're putting in all of the touchstones. But my God, it was terrible. And it just had plot holes that you could drive a truck through. Like, you were just like, really? Why are you slitting these people's throats? Why are you filling the pentagrams with blood? Like, yeah, I don't know how many times I said to myself, like, am I really going to sit through this whole thing? Like, I guess I'm going to, but like, there are other things I could be doing with my time. But yeah, and Wicca comes from the 1950s. Gerald Gardner coined the term. There is nothing ancient about it. He can say it comes from this ancient word wiki that he heard in a dream one night. But yeah, it shocks me that in this day and age, with so many good magical practitioners and so many good magical history people, that you would not get a consultant to at least help you formulate a script that is sensical. And just $15 million, like $15 million for this film, it just blows my mind.
Well, you know what? All they had to do was replace the word Wicca with witchcraft. That's all they had to do to fix that problem. And that would be, the rest of it obviously needs more help. But if they had just fixed that, at least you wouldn't been walking into that mess.
Well, also, why would you have a witch called Nagasath, which is not a French term? That's like Yog-Sothoth from Lovecraft. It felt to me like, especially as a screenwriter, that they were trying to pull all these different universes into this one very jam-packed thing, and none of it worked. Like, it just came off as silly.
And I don't know many Wiccans who make a practice of carving people up in a restaurant or carving people up even in a village hundreds of years ago. Like, I mean, you know, I have seen witch wars, I've seen things, but Wiccans don't normally do that. It's nature worship. They don't know. I'm a pagan. I'm not a Wiccan. Like my ancient French ancestors were.
And like something that really confused me at the ending was he's supposed to be the reincarnation of the religious guy.
Mhm.
And yet he's trying to save her, but he's her tormentor back in France. So if he's her tormentor, why are they going to rule the darkness together? Like I was like, what?
Yeah.
Yeah. And then she turns on him.
Yes. Like all of a sudden she remembers that he hit her in the face with a mace and like scarred her. And wow.
For me, I think there was, you know, if this had been, if I was writing my book and using this and mentioning this film, I would definitely mention the fact that Wicca was not treated properly. That would be the main point of this, because most movies now get that point right. Most movies now, even if they don't have a consultant, they're using the terms, since the 90s really, have been using the terms reasonably properly. Yes, they have the pentagrams and the blood and they have all the horror stuff, but they're getting at least that aspect right. So I would definitely point that out because it's very unusual for now. I would expect that problem to be in the 80s, to be in the 70s, to be, you know, not to be done now. So it's really shocking that in a 2025 we're seeing that mistake made. But this film felt like outside of the whole Wicca thing. It really, I think, Scarlett, you said touch points. Right from the beginning, when they show that scene, I had the same. I was like, okay, we're gonna have one of these movies. Like you could see what this was. There's a lot of witch movies that have young girls half naked dancing around fire. You have it in, I think, The Crucible. You see it in a lot of these movies. That's your cue that this is a witchcraft movie in many cases, especially witchcraft horror. It's a cornerstone in many cases, and they add more stuff to it, and they start throwing more of these pieces, and there's so many of them they keep throwing in here and there, and it's not hodgepodge. I've seen worse, but there's so many pieces that are so, like you said, touchstones. They are just part of a witchcraft horror movie, and they're all there, put together in a not well explained story.
Yeah, I felt like the kitchen. It felt like the kitchen sink. Like, let's just throw everything at it.
Yeah, I mean the devil creature after the Medusa.
Oh my god!
What? Wait a second. Medusa hair, and then the thing goes to the devil, and then it's like devil appears in. It's actually just a Halloween costume. It looked like.
Yeah. They'd already sent their 15 million on that one, I guess. Yeah.
I mean, I could forgive it more. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. I could forgive it more if it was like an Italian horror film where they had a budget of $50,000, so they're just trying to get everything in there that they can. You know, I think I could forgive that, but 15 million on this film, it blows my mind.
I did not like. As a former Christian, I wish Thumper were here to hear that. As a former Christian, so the witch does not like Christianity because obviously they are killing witches, and it was a scary time to be on the fringe. I get that. So fast forward to 2025. Meanwhile, this witch has possessed the body, and the girl is wearing the cross, and the cross is still that symbol, but it's in the wall, and that's sort of what brings her back. And like the demonization of Wicca, number one, and then it was sort of like with the church, it was like, well,
right.
Are they good? Are they bad? The church saves her, but the church is what condemned her. It was just mind numbing.
I have a question too, because I failed to see how her being an addict played in the story at all. And maybe I just missed something, but like, why was that a plot point?
I'll tell you what.
Because she could say the point that thing about your ex. Oh, what did she say? People who have addictive personalities and the supernatural, something along those lines.
Also, I can guarantee you that there was a production meeting that one of the producers said, "Oh, she needs to have a splinter. She needs to have something that motivates her, that makes us feel sorry for her." I can guarantee you that's how she ended up being a heroin addict.
It didn't work.
Yeah.
Well, and you know, the whole premise that we see now in a lot of these witchcraft, especially the horror, is we see that the witch is sympathetic to some degree. And Courtney, you mentioned that earlier. You feel bad for her, and they start that. They actually go there with this one, which is very current for witch films, even ones with where the witch is the evil. They say what she's done is evil, and I've said this 100 times. What she's done is, we don't like what she's done, but we understand why she does it. In this film, they start to go there, but then they back off of it, because first they don't completely make her sympathetic. Most of these films do allow you to sympathize. They show her being abused, but then that usually turns them into a witch, turns them towards the magic to empower them. Whereas in this case, she was already proven to be this evil character doing these evil things. She wasn't turned by this.
I don't think
that's how I read it.
I don't think that that's true, actually, because I think and I don't mean to interrupt you, but this is the one part that actually got me passionate about this movie, is that in the very, very beginning, she's doing herbs and stuff at the table, and she's just doing this is to help or whatever, like herbal magic. And then the justice comes in and he grapes her. Like they accuse her of witchcraft. They grape her. And then she says at one point, if you're going to call me a witch, I'll give you a witch. And then she becomes the evil. So I feel like there is that moment in time. The 2025 girl has nothing to do with anything as far as I'm concerned. But that one, I was like, yes, go get him. I support all of this. Spill the blood. Down with the patriarchy. Whatever. Because that was, to me,
and I totally get that. And you see that maybe they just didn't do it strong enough. They didn't lean into it enough for it to ride through and carry that allegiance through all the way through the rest of the film. It's almost like it's forgotten. I mean, you didn't obviously forget it, but I was looking for a little more sympathy, just points throughout, even while she's doing these things, just a little bit more, which you find in a lot of these films. Like even the bag lady one, there's sympathy for her because they show that throughout. This one, I felt like they dropped it. It was like, okay, we'll do that. Now we'll drop it. But that was my take.
I think I was just still traumatized after all this time from the witch that came from the sea. that was enough of a driving force for me. And because it was, I don't know, the only memorable part in the entire movie for me. So because I had to watch it twice to remember any of it. So that part did stick with me the second time, not the first time, the second time.
And the drug dealer, wasn't he in a different movie? I mean, acting wise and everything else. Where did he come from?
I didn't understand the point where the drug dealer is trying to give her the good stuff. She's on the roof of the old hospital, and yet she's also in the apartment with Christian, her lover, but she's also overdosing on top of the old hospital. And that's where the cat jumps up and claws this guy. And in her sort of possession state, she says, oh no, what's his name is never going to bother me again. The board said so. So was she possessed? And that was when she comes to, she's herself again. Then why was she on top of the roof at the old hospital?
I thought that was a different girl.
I thought so too.
I think it was a different
girl who looked a little too much like her.
Yeah.
To show how bad the drug dealer was.
Oh God, not this.
You watched that 2 years ago.
It still traumatizes me. I just thought about it again tonight as I watched this. I was like, oh, here we go again. One of these times we're going to have to actually do it, and I will probably be hospitalized again before that, so I can't do it.
We have to keep you out of the hospital. I'm even going to go back, not that I'm an expert on Christianity or Catholicism, but my uneducated, unbiased, is if this was a Catholic thing, isn't Jesus usually on a Catholic cross and he is never on a Protestant cross?
Exactly.
He
Yes.
came off the cross, Catholic keep him on.
Yes,
So her cross should have had Jesus on it.
absolutely. Absolutely. I will
Which
say,
is-
I did really like the scene where they went and picked the mushrooms out of the dead guy. Like, that was the one scene where I was like, okay, all right, I get that. That's really imaginative. I give that kudos, but it didn't really do anything. It didn't, you know, like it could have been so much more fun, but
I liked the hand that kept appearing because of the hands and the whatever, and I liked that whole thing. But the cat eating the hand underneath, right, and then the hand under the cloche, and then what was the other? Oh, can we talk about the witch mafia? Like, who were they, and why were they? Who were the henchmen that just appeared on?
The three girls?
No. There was all of a sudden there was these like men who looked like they were the mafia, and for no reason appeared, and they were just like fighting also. But like it's literally the only thing I contributed to is I wrote it down, like, who is the witch mafia and why are they there?
I laughed at the fact that there were the three white witches, the three women with the white hair are white witches, and the woman says, the ex-girlfriend says, "Oh, this is Hagatha," or whatever her name was, Hagatha and her sisters.
Yeah.
Like, how rude is that?
Well, I thought when Hagatha died, the one died, that the other ones were just going to disappear because they didn't. You can't have three. You can't have two without one.
I think they were trying to pull off, again, more witchcraft. I think they were trying to be, I think it was Hecate or Hecate or Hecate, whatever, however people would.
Yeah, that's common. You know, once again, they're pulling typical witchcraft stuff. That's the three fates. It's the three witches around the cauldron from Macbeth. That's just, there's always three. Hocus pocus, three. That's a very common trope. So I think that's what that was. It's the three witches around the cauldron. Although we didn't really see a cauldron, though they did stand around the guy and slit his throat. So, and they had a bowl that dripped blood into it. So maybe that was their cauldron.
Maybe. Yeah.
I'll take that cauldron. I like that one. I didn't mind the blood. I didn't mind. I didn't mind it. I thought that was probably the most interesting part of the whole movie. My eyes paid attention to the screen when that was happening. The second time, the first time, I don't know what planet I was on, but I have no recollection of it after the first. What? There's a movie, or did we just make that?
AI.
Yeah.
Okay. Do we have anything else to discuss on this fine film? Perhaps not. Quotes. Courtney.
I have. Don't get excited. I have some.
Okay.
The most of it is from the ancient Wicca, from the from the France people. The baron, whoever he is, the I don't know, the bishop guy said, "I must determine if this wench is possessed by Satan. Don't resist. I'm here to cleanse your soul." I was like, "Who's this guy?" And then the part that I was like, "Yes, get him!" And the only part that got me excited in the whole movie was, "Mark my words, if it's a witch you seek, it's a witch you shall have. The hands that defiled my flesh will be torn from your body." And I was like, "Get him, girl, get him." And then the bishop again said, "Hurry up, witch, or hurry to your death." And then at the restaurant, so also at the restaurant, they're eating these mushrooms, which are making half of them like murderous and hallucinate, and then the other half are like horny for no reason. So she's like trying to make out with the waiter. Like, I didn't understand that, but in front of her date, and the date was like, the date said, squeeze his, I'm gonna have to censor this, but squeeze his butt like it's a effing baguette. And I was like, why would you squeeze a baguette? It's hard. And then someone said, "There goes the 4-star review," which was pretty funny. And then I also wrote, "Why is there suddenly a witch mafia?" So there you go. Those are my quotes.
Not a single one about ancient Wicca or did
No.
you just?
Because a lot of things came up and I was like, oh, I should probably write that down, except for it makes me irrationally angry that I'm watching this movie. So I could not write them down. And then I was like, it's fine. I'll go on IMDb after and I'll just look up and see if I can pad this. So I wrote down my favorites and thought, oh, I'll just pad it with some other ones. And then I went on IMDb and they don't even have a page for quotes on this movie. So
I can't imagine why.
right. And I think that therein is obviously part of the problem is that the writing is just all around so terrible.
I mean, Scarlet, you make a lot of movies. Doesn't somebody figure that out along the way?
You would hope so, but when you've got a director-writer, they have a little bit more power. But I'm really surprised with the amount of money involved. And with the movies that some of the movies he's done more successfully than others. Some of them have been pretty big flops. But yeah, you would think that somebody would be in there going, because like when you were going up talking about her saying, like I'm going to take the hand that defiled me. I don't think I even caught that because there was so much going on. And I feel like if they just had somebody come in who had a working knowledge of witchcraft and magic and had worked with, the screenwriter just to streamline some of the ideas and to follow, it feels like they had some great things and then they just dropped it, and it's for a viewer, it's just way too confusing and too much stuff. And had that been streamlined, there probably was a pretty good movie hiding in there somewhere.
And what's even some more surprising, I mean, even if they didn't have a consultant, because they don't all have consultants, is that there's enough people aware of modern witchcraft. And I mean, with the size of these crews, there might have been 1, 2, 3 on it that might have been able to say something. Now, of course, are they going to listen? That's another story. And if it's just, a grip somewhere down the line or whatever, it might not come through. But you would think that in today's day and age, someone would have said something, at least about the ancient Wicca piece of it.
I mean, and not only that, Google is free.
But you got to know to Google it. I mean, they also pointed to there was other stuff that was historically inaccurate when it comes to this. So, maybe it's more outstanding. I know people don't know what Wicca is. I know that people don't know just general population. I write for media. I know we have to explain what it is. Every time I write an article, I mention Wicca. You can look, there's a definition of it in there. So,
Yeah, it was interesting because I did look up a couple articles on it before jumping on here. And the one thing that the director kept talking about was having researched the historical aspects. And I was like, yeah, of course, there were witch trials in that area, but then you give a witch a very non-French name and you don't base her on any of the French witches at that time. And then, yeah, you have the ancient Wicca and the ancient Witchboard.
No.
Yeah.
Historically, this was a mess.
Yeah.
So.
Agreed.
We will so sadly miss Jason's Mankey movie moment on this one.
I have one.
Oh,
I'm a Jason movie Mankey. Let me see if I can be Jason Mankey.
Oh.
In a world where facts don't matter. I wanted to come on here and talk about witchcraft and being a Wiccan. By the way, I have authored 10 books with Llewellyn. I wanted to come on here and talk about the power of Wicca. Oh, by the way, I wrote a book on that, Jason Buckland. That's it. I'm Jason Mankey. The High Priest. That's the one. I wrote that book. I'm Jason Mankey. Growing up in the 80s, I used to really love magic and witchcraft. And I really wanted to quote Anchorman instead because I read anything. I love Patti Negri. She always makes me laugh. She is such an inspiration. I love Heather Greene. She is just really incredible as a person, really inspirational as a witch. I know that Courtney is going to hex me, but then after her review, I know that she's not because we're on the same page because the only thing ancient about my Wicca is my fill in the blank. Richard-Lael makes me laugh too because, you know, he's really good about really getting to the point of films. And Scarlet is just a fountain of knowledge. With that being said, ancient Wiccans did not exist. I'm Jason Mankey. I approve of this message.
Yay!
Could hardly tell you apart.
Yeah, I'm literally crying. I couldn't breathe. That was good. I was trying not to snort, like, because I was.
Oh, you look like you're having a hot flash. You're too young.
Yeah, I was.
This movie made us all hot. There you go. And I'm getting greener by the moment. I think because it's getting dark out. I'm getting very dark green. Who picked this movie?
This was not anyone's pick. This was just because we wanted to review something that was really current and had just come out that people were watching.
Okay, thank you. All right, so no one to hex, no one to blame. We have.
I can come up with some people. So
You did. Okay.
I'll find the list of people who are involved in making this, and we'll have a chat.
Well, we do have to vote on this. It may not be big secrets on things, but you guys, we love everything that you guys are putting in the chat room. All of you guys are being funny and clever. And now tell us what you think of Witchboard 2024-5.
Oh my goodness. A unanimous down?
Unanimous down. Usually someone surprises us and like, I've been talking bad, but I really liked it, or somewhere in the middle. This is a
Richard-Lael.
Yeah.
I know. I can't. My ancient Wiccan French ancestors will not allow me to like this film.
I'm using a grill lighter as my wand, so I can light this film on fire.
You could light this film on fire. So, okay, you guys, wands down. It was so bad. What is next week's movie? We'll get there. Neutral. Robert gave us a neutral.
Oh.
Raspberry. Technically forgot it was bad.
Yeah.
Totally forgot it was bad. I wanted it. I love New Orleans. I love kitchen-y movie. We watched cooking shows. I like cats. No cats died. Raspberries, indeed. So you guys, I think Kelvin couldn't even get through it. He didn't watch it. Body is underground. So not a single wand up. We have one neutral. Robert Sand Strong. Yes.
A double down.
Boo. Okay, we got through this week, and modern film people are watching, or with how much money it's brought in, maybe people are not watching.
Right.
No.
So what do we exactly. She was cute.
I like her as an actress. She's in other things, and I like her.
She's in other things.
And the bad guy is a really good bad guy.
Yeah. I think they spent the budget on him, and you could tell the difference between him and the other people that he was acting with on screen, because he could act and they just like kind of sat there and acted. It was like, oh, I feel nothing.
Right.
But yes, he's like tearing up.
Why did they have that random jazz band on the back of a truck? I have been here for 2 years, and I have never, unless it was a parade, seen a random jazz band going down the French Quarter on the back of a truck. Mystic Shield.
We should Mystic Shield ourselves after having to see this. Oh no. Yeah. Instead of a Richard-Lael closing breathing ritual, Courtney's leading a Mystic Shield ritual. Get it out of here.
So we are getting through this entire week. What are we watching next week?
This is a great classic. Everybody get ready, stand by. It is going to be The Muppets Haunted Mansion.
Yes!
Oh, that's awesome.
I can't wait.
Oh, someone just said I had an orb go by. So that's caught me off guard about 100 times. It's not an orb. I'm sitting in front of a window. So those are cars, the streets right there.
Oh,
sorry. I have to debunk. It's in my nature.
Okay, so Muppets Haunted Mansion next Wednesday. I think I could do it. I will be in a hotel room because we're termiting my house because we haven't done it for 20 years. Who knew that somebody would eat my house when I wasn't looking?
And it's not even children, and your house isn't even that sweet.
I know, but I should be able to be here. So, all right, we have a couple minutes left before we cackle and cry. So, anybody have any coming up? We're going to cackle and cry.
Okay.
Coming up that we want to tell everybody about. Heather.
Sure. Since I'm on the screen, I will share. In a couple weeks, I'm going to be doing a couple classes here locally in Atlanta, one on haunted dolls and the other one on the ancient art of the Wicca. And you'll learn all about how they actually practiced Wicca 250 years ago. And then in November, I will be doing several workshops at the event Conjuration, which is more of a pop culture magic. Every year it happens, and they do some witchy stuff as well. So I'll be doing, again, haunted dolls, and I'm going to be doing a Wizard of Oz workshop there. And that is also held in Atlanta. And I'll post some stuff on my socials on that if you're in the area.
Perfect. Thank you. Courtney.
That's me. It is October. I will be in survival mode because, as everyone knows, I work in Salem, and so this is my favorite month of the year, and also the most stressful month of the year. So that'll be me, and also, figuring out a way to hex Jason wherever he is, because I missed that. I haven't done it in a long time, so I'll be busy with that.
Okay, thank you, Richard-Lael.
I do have a couple things going on. I will be teaching University Magicus this Sunday morning. I also am having a tea here at my house, which is you just message me. We're going to a seance, and we will have tea, and it's going to be fabulous. That's going to be on the 10th. So if you like tea and seances and tarot cards and 1,000-year-old Wiccans in New Orleans, that's me.
Are you going to have a band in the back of a truck? Because if not, I'm not coming.
Oh, you know what? I
worked on it.
I was going to, but I think for the budget's sake, I'll just pretend that there's a band, and then they'll be better than the band that was on the screen. So it's a ghost band.
Yep.
Thanks.
Love that.
Scarlet.
I'm teaching a series at the Crooked Path, Witching the Art of Words, which is a creative writing and witchcraft series. And then we're also doing real life scary stories on the 18th, I think it is, where we're having practitioners tell their real life ghost stories, like in this whole setting at the Crooked Path. And then I'm prepping to shoot a music video at the end of the month to direct another one for Scarlet Seraphim. I did her music video, Nail Me Down, which actually won awards at some of the festivals. So I'm excited to work with her again. So that's
Can people see that? Can people go to YouTube or see it somewhere?
yeah.
It's a great video.
It's on YouTube. Yeah. It's called Nail Me Down by Scarlet Seraphim.
Thank you. Thank you. And me.
Also,
and
happy
me.
early birthday. Sorry, before we scroll past it, Colin said his birthday's on Friday. Happy early birthday, Colin.
Happy birthday.
Happy birthday, Colin.
Yay. And for me, I'm going to be in Illinois. I'm going to be at Rock Island, Illinois, doing all sorts of fun things at a big old haunted place. I think I've got a midnight seance till 2. I'm teaching a practical magic class, doing paranormal investigations, be pitching my book, Dollcraft. I'm doing another thing with South Florida Paranormal, a demonstration on the Delco method, which is the Estes method with flashy glasses. It's going to be a big weekend, a lot of Paraflix people, a lot of art people. So Rock Island Esoteric Expo. It is called Rock Island Esoteric Expo. You can find it at pattinegri.com. Come on down. All sorts of cool kids are going to be there. And that's it. It is that time. Next week. Wait. Next week is, what day is it?
Wednesday.
And
It's not your birthday week.
oh, that's the next week? Okay.
That's your birthday is the next week where you have your birthday choice.
Okay. Because I was going to say Muppets is not my birthday choice.
No, that's your birthday choice the week after. Next
Okay.
week is the 8th.
Oh, it is? I'm so ahead of myself. My phone is ringing. Everything is going. So, okay. Never mind. Muppets. That's it. Come back in both weeks. That's it. It's 7:00. The phone is ringing. We're going to cry. We're going to cackle. We're going to do a little bit of both on the count of 3. 1, 2, 3.